Have you ever had that sense that you are here for something bigger? Have you ever jumped into something, a new experience, without knowing why? That is the energy that we're presented with here at this Gemini new moon. It's almost like our soul is ready now for a new chapter, a new level of experience, whether we feel we're ready for it or not. But here we come. Welcome to New Light Living Podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. This video is a galactic astrology reading of the Gemini New Moon at 6 degrees 6 minutes on March 26th, 2025. Welcome. What I do in these videos, I put an outer layer of fixed stars, celestial bodies, and galactic points to the traditional Western tropical astrology wheel. And that is to help us connect to a deeper multidimensional perspective beyond our traditional way of looking at astrology. So welcome to this video. What you'll receive in this video are 3 energetic themes that I've pulled out from the Gemini New Moon chart. And also at the end, you'll receive 3 questions should you want to integrate this new moon in Gemini energy some more. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There is a link in the pinned comment and description box below. This new moon in Gemini is conjunct the Hyades Star Cluster at 6 degrees of Gemini, actually 6 to 10 degrees of Gemini. The fixed star Hyades 1 in particular is in alignment with this new moon. The ruler of this new moon is Mercury, and Mercury is now connecting with the Pleiades star cluster at 0 degree of Gemini, and Mercury is now at 2 degrees of Gemini. So there are flowing messages coming in connection, in alignment with the Pleiades star cluster. So I hope you've received a lot of messages the past couple of days here prior to the new moon and also during the new moon, of course. And we talked about this quite a lot in the previous full moon in Scorpio video. So if you are curious about Pleiades and Mercury's interaction with Pleiades at this time, you may want to revisit the Scorpio full moon video. The big event here around this Gemini new moon is Saturn's ingress to Aries that happened 2 days before this new moon on May 24th, 2025. And this is a significant energy shift that is just beginning now that we're going to talk more about in energetic theme 1 coming up. Saturn at 0 degree of Aries is now joining Neptune in Aries, and Neptune is now at 1 degree of Aries. So this is a very powerful combination that we are going to dive deeper in, but I also can recommend my 2025 Galactic Astrology program that is diving deeper into this Saturn-Neptune combo. So I'll put the link in the description box and the pinned comment below to join that 2025 Galactic Astrology program. So going back to this major energy in Aries now, this new moon is an infusion of life force energy, of enthusiasm, and the sense that we are here for a bigger purpose. At this new moon, there may be something that you just feel, I have to do it. And even if you don't know exactly all the details around it, you may be feeling like, I just have to jump into it. And this is the opening where we may just feel like our body is moving to a certain direction, or our soul wants us to experience something completely new. And that is the life force energy that we're getting infused by through the Hyades Star Cluster at this time. We may still work with some serious self-doubt, and we're going to get into more of that in energetic theme 3 coming up, what that may entail and what we have still to work with when it comes to opening that door to that next chapter, the new dawn in our soul's journey. At this Gemini new moon, there is this soul feeling of a victory, having gone through a major cycle working with deep, deep energies. We have still some work to do, but it's going to be lighter from here on. What is comforting, though, is that our souls knows our soul's journey and what we have in front of us next, even if we cannot see it. Our soul drive is moving each one of us into the next experience that we are ready for. Ready or not, feeling like ready or not, but here we are. Our soul is going to bring us into our next experience, whether we resist it or not. It's that soul drive at the subconscious level that is bringing us into the next level of experience. Our soul knows that we are here for a bigger purpose, whether we can comprehend it or not at this time. But this is a new moon that is kicking off a significant opening, a new dawn that we are now invited. And largely due to this significant energy shift that is now initiated with both Neptune and Saturn in Aries, conjunct the Pegasus constellation and the fixed star Pegasus-Scheat. This energy signature of Neptune and Saturn conjunct Pegasus-Scheat at the very first degree, 0 and 1 degree of Aries, is a complete new innocent energy point. Innocent in the sense that it's the first degree of the zodiac, which often represents this new beginning type of energy. But our soul has so much wisdom within our soul journey that we're bringing here. This energy shift is going to take us on a journey of self-mastery, especially in the sign of Aries. It's about the self and experiencing a new level of integration of our own energy with our environment and the rest of the universe. Unity consciousness is the new chapter where we will integrate ourselves as a being into understanding the hologram that we live in to a much greater extent. And this elevated understanding is the inner journey that we are now taking on. I sense that this particular new moon has a very strong connection to each one of us soul contract, because this is a marker in our soul contracts of a new dawn. We are on a path to understand our soul contract in more detail beyond the physical realm. Now we are going to be taken on a journey to understand our multidimensional self, our 360-degree hologram that we are as a being in this universe. Our soul contract is a set of light codes that are unique to us, that gives the texture of our being in the perspective of the universe. And it includes all the lessons and experiences and things that we have signed up for experiencing in a different way than in prior experiences. Simply things that we are here to do differently in this life as opposed to previous incarnations. And at the collective level, this is a new page in that soul contract. This new moon may represent this new page in our soul contract that is representing a kickoff for something much bigger than we've ever experienced before. What comes to mind with Saturn and Neptune now in Aries is the limitless opportunity that we all have to elevate our energy and frequency to match truly what we're here to be and do and serve in this world. And the next levels of astrology, which may be galactic astrology, is helping us to navigate these next levels of us becoming and seeing ourselves as a multidimensional being. So notice around this new moon in Gemini, what you are specifically drawn to, that urge that will take you into perhaps a completely new experience or deepening an existing experience that you're having here. Because this is no coincidence that the soul drive is leading you in the direction where you are meant to go next. And to support this, the ruler of this new moon is Mercury, and Mercury is now in conjunction with the Pleiades. So messages are coming through to us in terms of that next elevation of frequency and experiences that we are going to have next. Before we go into the new moon chart, I'd like to share what the galactic energetic themes are. The first theme is a new dawn in sight. And here we're going to focus on that minor grand trine between Pluto, Aquila-Altair, Mercury as the ruler conjunct Pleiades, and also now Saturn and Neptune in Aries conjunct Pegasus-Scheat. The second theme is seeking our true galactic self. And here in this theme, we're going to talk about Gonggong, Ixion, both dwarf planets, but also asteroid Vesta, and also Draco-Thuban. The members only video is associated with the second theme here around seeking our true galactic self. And I have named the members only video a new galactic reality. So if you're curious, join our membership at the galaxy level to enjoy the members only videos. And there's a link for joining the membership in the pinned comment and description box below. The third theme is continued subconscious transformation. And here we're going to focus in on Jupiter's journey. And Jupiter is now conjunct Orion-Saiph. So we're going to dive a little deeper into Jupiter's path here because Jupiter is leading the pack in Gemini. So with this focus on Gemini at this Gemini new moon, I thought it would be interesting to take an extra look at Jupiter again. All right, are you ready for the new moon chart? Let's take a look. And you can see here the sun and the moon are together at 6 degrees of Gemini, conjunct the Hyades Star Cluster and Hyades 1 in particular. We also have the ruler here in Gemini now at 2 degrees of Gemini, conjunct the Pleiades Star Cluster. And this is a really important signature of what's to come. Hyades is associated with life force energy and infusion of infusion of energy, basically. And with Mercury here connecting with Pleiades, it is a prime energy signature for receiving messages from your guides, receiving downloads of energy and messages at this time. So here, I'd just like to show you Hyades as a star cluster. And as you can see, it's part of the constellation of Taurus, very close to the royal star Aldebaran there at 10 degrees of Gemini. But we also have a star cluster of 3 fixed stars, and Hyades 1 is at 6 degrees, and Hyades 2 is very close by, but Hyades 1 is the closest orb to this new moon. We also have Hyades 8 at 8 degrees of Gemini, and then we have Aldebaran there at 10 degrees of Gemini. And again, tune into this energy of the Hyades, which is really that feeling, that energy we get when we are in front of a new dawn, when the sun is rising. And I want you to take that energy in because it's a very fulfilling energy, and it's almost like a rejuvenation type of energy that is available to us here at the Gemini new moon. So yes, this new moon, if we just talk about the sign of Gemini, the early degrees of Gemini are very much a spring field where we just want to jump out and run around and roll in the grass and feel like it's the first day of spring. That's the type of energy, a rejuvenation of our life force at this new moon. So listen for those sparks within where a new interest or a new curiosity is awakening within you, because this is a new dawn type of energy that we have available to us here. And it's meant to propel us into our next chapter where we may be playing a bigger role in service to others, but also in our own soul expansion. All right, let's take a look at the first energetic theme that I called A New Dawn in Sight. So here we have the first theme that I called A New Dawn in Sight. And naturally, there is a significant focus on the 0 to 1 degree of Aries now, with Saturn's ingress to Aries on May 24th, only 2 days before this Gemini new moon. And this point in the zodiac is opposite the supergalactic center at 2 degrees of Libra, which is a highly potent axis. And Pegasus-Scheat, the fixed star Pegasus-Scheat at 29 degrees of Pisces, is still in conjunction and working with Saturn and Neptune here. And Pegasus-Scheat, we're going to talk a little bit more about in a minute. But I'd like to also instill that this is just not one and gone type of energy. This is a process that we are initiated to deeper now with Saturn's ingress to Aries. And I'd like to give you some dates here so that you can follow this process in more closely as far as dates goes, because both Saturn and Neptune are going to retrograde back to Pisces and then come back with full force later on in 2026. So let's take a look at those dates and that 0 degree Aries point. So I first want to mention that the North Node was here beginning of this year on January 11th. So this is really the time when this direction was already set. So we have been working with this for a while now. And Neptune, as you may recall, entered Aries on March 30th this year and will be retrograding back to Pisces on October 22nd this year. And similarly, Saturn with ingress to Aries now just 2 days ago, May 24th, will retrograde back into Pisces on September 1st this year. So this is the window we have pretty much between now and October 22nd, when Neptune is coming back to Pisces, that this new dawn energy will be active. Neptune will be direct as Neptune enters back into Aries on January 27, 2026. Saturn will be direct and entering back into 0 degree of Aries on February 14th, 2026. And then the big event when Saturn and Neptune are going to be exactly conjunct at 0 degree of Aries will be on February 20th, 2026. So that gives you a little bit of feeling for what the time period here we are going to work with next when it comes to this transition phase. And also, I should say that for a majority of this window, Saturn and Neptune will work with Pegasus-Scheat as a fixed star, which is signifying this liberation process. And also in support of all of this is in the backbone sits the supergalactic center with a multidimensional influx of universal wisdom throughout this process. So this is a highly important transition, what I call transition period, because there are significant energies that we will be encountering between this 0 to 1 degree of Aries, but also coming back to Pisces. So we will be reminded about the past, but we are going to be tested on if we have let go of the past. When Saturn and Neptune are back in Pisces, that's when that test is going to come about. So from early September this year to mid-February next year, 2026, is going to be a critical period of time where we will likely encounter some individual personal tests, but also collective tests in terms of letting go of the past in order to open up to higher frequencies and new perspectives. In this theme, of course, I'd like to focus on this minor grand trine that is going to play a significant role in establishing this new foundation for this new Earth energy and that is Pluto's conjunction to Aquila-Altair, and of course, Saturn and Neptune's consistent work with Pegasus-Scheat, and also the Pleiades Star Cluster, which is going to play a significant role. And right now, at this Gemini New Moon, we're receiving some initial messages around this. But come early July, Uranus is going to take over the ownership of this part of the minor grand trine and holding it all the way to January 2027. So this is a significant minor grand trine to pay attention to in opposition to the supergalactic center. And we're going to come back to the impact of this formation many times over this period, I'm sure. But I want to highlight this at this new moon because Mercury's rulership of this new moon and also the position of being in conjunct with the Pleiades star cluster, receiving messages about what's to come. I also want to give you a little bit more flavor of the short term here, a specific date that I identified that may be good to pay attention to because it's also the short term kind of process around activating this minor grand trine. So the date of August 11 might be a great date to pay attention to because if we first look at Mars's journey until August 11th, Mars will be conjunct the supergalactic center on August 11th. And then the sun on that day will be where Mars is now at 18 degrees of Leo. And on that same day, Mercury will go direct at 4 degrees of Leo, opposite Pluto. And also, lastly, Uranus will be at 1 degree of Gemini in conjunction over a long time with the Pleiades star cluster. So August 11th is really a key date to activate this kite and formation, I believe, because Mars's conjunction with the supergalactic center is an infusion of action. And I think it would be worth to pay attention to. So I'm aware that we have talked quite a lot about the Pegasus constellation and particularly Pegasus-Scheat in previous videos, but I thought it would be worth coming back to Pegasus-Scheat in this video because of the highlight that Saturn is making now, entering Aries. Pegasus-Scheat is associated with liberation and that hope that we need in times of despair. And the winged horse is very much a symbol of this hope. So that liberation that comes with carrying a strong hope within ourselves, that hope is something that is also liberating. I also sense this Pegasus-Scheat energy working with the entire planet at this time. It's almost like this energy is holding the entire planet to go through this transition energy-wise. Pegasus-Scheat is also specifically associated with the water element, and water is also associated with intuition. And this is also indicating a guidance on where to turn for that hope. The more we can expand trusting our gut feeling, our intuition, and what's right for us individually, the more we are going to expand the sense of hope at this time, in these times we're in. Pegasus-Scheat is here to guide us. And with Neptune and Saturn now in Aries, it's all about our self, our individual self, and coming back to that very pure, innocent energy within ourselves, because we are held, we are surrounded by this Pegasus-Scheat type of energy at this time, being so highlighted in the astrology at this time, supported also by that opposition, the infusion of multidimensional wisdom, universal wisdom from the supergalactic center is significant. And also with this long-term minor grand trine holding this kite together all the way to January 2027, that also speaks to this transition period we are in as a planet, as part of the universe. So this also is significant because we are creating a new reality. We are gaining new perspectives of who we truly are, and Pegasus-Scheat has a significant role in that. So this new infusion of energy very much focused in Aries on ourselves, our individual soul journey is also helping us to guide where we are going next. Because this kite, and particularly the minor grand trine, is in air and fire particularly. So this is a very transformational wind that's blowing through here for more than a year. And this is going to speak to our mind, but it's also going to speak to our inner fire. Our mind can go far, but we are asked to ground that in our inner passion so that we can follow that inner passion in the direction our soul wants to take us. So I think that's a great segue into the next energetic theme that I've called Seeking Our True Galactic Self. So here we have the second theme that I've called Seeking Our True Galactic Self. And here we're going to start, of course, with the new moon at 6 degrees of Gemini. And also what you notice here is Vesta at 6 degrees of Scorpio, and also Ixion, dwarf planet Ixion, at 7 degrees of Capricorn, building a yod with the new moon. And usually I feel that this is very much a directional energy. I feel that the new moon is actually more directional out, guiding us through Vesta's lessons there. And Vesta is conjunct the Shapley attractor, which is making it an extra punch in terms of importance. And Ixion here is also one of the guides that is helping us to allow this rebellion within us come out. And so this yod is super important for guidance at this new moon, I feel. We also have dwarf planet Gonggong at 6 degrees of Pisces, conjunct the royal star Fomalhaut at 4 degrees of Pisces, in opposition with Draco-Thuban at 7 degrees of Virgo. This builds a T-square with Gonggong, the new moon, and Draco-Thuban that is also very much a focus on the importance of this Gemini new moon. Draco-Thuban is associated with energy around staying sovereign in times of adversity, and also the depth that it takes to stay in integrity. And in opposition to Gonggong, which is the empathic consciousness that is very much guiding us into the new future, the new earth energy, this opposition is helping us to balance this, to come deeper into that character that can read others without words, basically. So if we take those together, that yod with Vesta there at 6 degrees of Scorpio conjunct Shapley attractor and Ixion, this is a significant guidance for us at this time, what it takes to come deeper into and connecting with our multidimensional galactic selves, true selves, which is where we are acknowledging our broader soul journey and the components of it. So this energy signature is very much a guidance for us, what it takes to come into a multidimensional perspective and stay grounded in that. But there's more. So this trio, Gonggong, Vesta, and Ixion, are also building a minor grand trine at this new moon, and in opposition there to Canis Major-Sirius B at 7 degrees of Cancer, that fuels Ixion's power here as far as guidance in going forward. Sirius B is associated with ancient wisdom keeping, and the ancient wisdom that we are now also meant to reconnect with and expand upon at this in the next coming years. Ixion is Pluto's brother, and we're going to talk more about Ixion in a minute here. But what I really want to highlight with this theme is that we get strong guidance at this Gemini new moon about this next phase of guidance, next phase that it takes to identify and go deeper with our true self and expand this perspective, expand our perspective into considering ourselves as a multidimensional being. And I will go deeper with this guidance in the members only video of the YouTube membership that I've opened up. And I named this video A New Galactic Reality. So I'm having fun with that video, and enjoy me in the membership to view that video. So I see this new moon as a kickoff or an ignition for this deeper guidance at this time. So let's talk a little bit more about Gonggong. And I mentioned empathic consciousness. And what does that mean? Gonggong was discovered in 2007 as a dwarf planet and is belonging to the Kuiper Belt. The Kuiper Belt represents, to me, the new Earth energy that we are expanding into and able to relate to and work with now as we increase our own vibration. Gonggong, I see, is guiding us also to develop new ways of communication. And what I mean with that is communication through heart frequency, communication through mind frequency, telepathy, for example, but also communication with our environment, the trees, all the wisdom that we can unearth in our environment as well. So we are meant to develop new ways of communicating that we may not have experienced as a human being before. Gonggong represents a very high vibrating energy that we are going to get more and more access to and have available to us as we go through the next coming years. And at this new moon in Gemini, Ixion is the driver, being at the top of this kite, fueled by the ancient wisdom that Sirius B represents. And Ixion is Pluto's brother. He is the seeker and wants to expand. And this is the main driver of our soul drive at this time, likely, where our soul is leading us into new experiences, new expansions. And so Ixion also represents being who we are and not trying to mold ourselves with limitations. More, Ixion is representing this limitless, no boundaries type of exploration energy that is also transformational. Ixion expressed in the physical realm may be that you, for example, may choose to, the way you dress. For example, if you add something to your normal wardrobe that excites you and that you may not, that others may not see as representative of you, but it's you now. All of this is supporting us to come into our more authentic self. Ixion is certainly the rebel that wants us to be our authentic self. So yes, I'm excited to dive into the members only video here because there's a lot to unpack about this guidance. Ixion is very much a rebel in the sense that he wants us to become more authentic and stand up for who we truly are. And there may be layers that are shed from your self identity at this time during this process, all the way into 2027 and beyond, that you may be ready to connect with next. So the galactic true self is also including to know more about your soul's journey multidimensionally. And if you're curious, check out my website, ulrikasullivan.com, and the readings that I offer there, because this often is a first step to get a first view of what your soul journey looks like and what the energy is that you're working with as a soul at this time, and your connection to galactic fixed stars, points, and your galactic connections. All the links are in the pinned comment and description box below, should you want to explore this further for yourself. All right, are you ready for the third energetic theme, continued subconscious transformation next? So here we have the third theme that I've called continued subconscious transformation. And that's exactly what it is, because here in this theme, we're still focusing on the Orion constellation and Jupiter's heavy lifting work with multiple fixed stars associated with the Orion constellation. And at this new moon, Jupiter is conjunct Orion-Saiph at 26 degrees of Gemini, opposite the galactic center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And here also, as you can see in this chart, Jupiter is still in T-square with the nodal axis. And the north node is still conjunct Pegasus-Markab there at 23 degrees of Pisces, and the north node is at 24 degrees of Pisces. So this T-square will continue for a while. What I do want to focus on, though, is the additional alignments here in the third decan that is worth to note, because all of this work is in the subconscious realm, in the spiritual realm, being in the late degrees of the signs. And I'm going to just point out to you the other alignments that Jupiter is making here. So here we have an important sextile that Jupiter is making to Chiron and soon Aries as well, because this is also a support for the heavy lifting that Jupiter is doing with the Orion energy. And this is a support from both Venus and Chiron now to unearth and transmute the wounds that we are turning into potential. And this opposition to Booth's actress at 24 degrees of Libra is really supporting the big picture, the energy that we are meant to move into. That opposition is helping us to balance this process, this transmutation process. And Venus, representing the divine feminine, is supporting us to be able to receive and sit with it more and utilize the feminine energies, intuition, and rest to process these energies. And that sextile is very supportive. We also have what we call a semi-sextile to Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus, still conjunct Perseus-Algol, in opposition now with Alpha Centauri at 29 degrees of Scorpio. So this axis is going to be very much highlighted soon, come early July, late June, early July. But now this is also a energy that is helping us to come to terms with our galactic self, who are we from a multidimensional perspective. I see this energy, the semi-sextile, as a guidance, because Uranus is a guide in all of this expansion at this time. And the support that is given to help us come to terms with this expansion into a multidimensional being perspective is happening. And Orion-Saiph is an important alignment at this time to help transmute any lower energy that holds us down from opening up to a bigger perspective about our soul journey. I felt it was important to spend some extra time on Jupiter's journey, because Jupiter eventually also will be in square with Saturn and Neptune when the conjunction with Orion Betelgeuse, the last degree of Gemini here. So Pegasus-Scheat and Orion Betelgeuse will be in square in terms of energy goes. So that's going to be critical for Jupiter's journey and our transformational journey as well, linking into those early degrees of Aries soon. So Orion-Saiph is at the back foot of the Orion Hunter here. And if you imagine, this is also the underworld energies that Saiph is working with, transmuting negative energies to positive energies, is one of the energy signatures of Orion-Saiph. And this is what you may feel is going on, not only within your body, but also within the collective, that new dawn energy, that energy push, if you will, or that urge that comes through you in terms of, I really need to do this now, and moving ourselves into something completely new. And I also highlighted the Hyades cluster there and Pleiades cluster just to give you some context on how it looks in the sky. But these energies are strongly connected at this time. And Hyades with that new dawn energy, and the Pleiades cluster with the messages about an evolved energy that we can use also as guidance, but also our own process within our body, transmuting these lower frequency energies at this time. We all are asked to give ourselves some space, some extra space in our life to process this energetically, because it is happening at the subconscious level, and it may not always be visible in the physical world. But if we're tuning into our body and following that and honoring the rhythm of the body and our environment, we are likely going through this process over the next year or couple of years more smoothly. So this time is a significant opening to realizing that there's a new energy coming in. And I think we are going to receive our signs and synchronicities about that, what it means for us individually in different ways. But here we are with both Neptune and Saturn now conjunct Pegasus-Scheat in Aries. It's a very new, pure, new beginning energy that we have available to us now to work with. Are you curious about your own galactic alignments? Download my Galactic Alignments reference guide. There's a link in the pinned comment and description box below. And I have a couple of questions. Should you want to integrate this Gemini New Moon energy some more? The first question is, what is this energy shift representing to you? What is your new dawn? And this may be something you have to tune into your body to fully understand, because our mind is not going to be the source of the answer. The body is transforming and have much more wisdom that I don't think we can comprehend just yet what the instrument is that we have in our physical body with regards to consciousness and interacting with the universe. But we are on our way into integrating this understanding deeper at this time. So what is your new dawn at this time? The second question is, how can you incorporate more layers to your reality? Because we are expanding now into noticing signs, synchronicities, other ways of communicating are open up to us within ourselves. So how is your reality changing at this time? We are asked to be curious about what else can we explore and discover about what this reality here on Earth in physical form is all about, and how we can interact and integrate, and how we can integrate a more multidimensional perspective into our current life form. And what is your experience of that reality? The third question is, what lowers your energy? Because that is really what Jupiter is working on here, to help you expand and come into contact with some more. What are the negative influences in your life? What is that one little thing that you can do to help you shift perspective or shift a situation into something that is more supportive for you? Because definitely there is a new dawn in sight, and we are only in the beginning of this massive transformation that we are invited to at the soul level. And our soul knows where we're going. It's about connecting with that path in the physical form and help ourselves to walk down the path that we have chosen for ourselves. We are definitely invited to become more of who we truly are. I'm excited to help being the cosmic navigator here for the coming years to help us understand what we have available to us to work with energetically. And if you're curious to go deeper with me, I invite you to join my YouTube membership, where you can enjoy personal responses from me on your questions. You can enjoy members-only videos. I also have the universe level that you may not have heard about, but here you will also enjoy the 2025 Galactic Astrology program. It's a 6-video program that I have placed at the universe level. You're also invited to a live Q&A on June 4th, 2025. And if you're part of the universe level, you are automatically invited to that live Q&A. So if that interests you, join us in the YouTube membership. I've also placed a link to the 2025 program should you want to purchase the program as a single purchase. Thank you so much for being here, for watching and listening to New Light Living podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. I'm an intuitive spiritual life coach and a galactic astrologer. Visit me on ulrikasullivan.com. There you can find all my offerings, but also on my link tree, there's a link in the pinned comment and description box below. The link tree will take you to all the key links that you may need for booking a reading or purchasing a program or joining the membership. So check that out. And I can't wait to welcome you into a deeper understanding of our multidimensional galactic true self. I can't wait to come back with another video for you soon. Bye.